and we will begin. My name is Erica Rogers, and I am the Region 4 Professional Development Specialist. Thank you for those of you who have joined in, and thank you for participating in our icebreaker. We had some pretty great captions that were happening, made me laugh out loud a couple of times, so thanks for doing that with us. We are excited to have you guys with us today. And before we started, I wanted to go over a couple of things about Blackboard Collaborate, maybe as reminders or maybe to help you guys out. When you log in, if you guys could log in with your first and last name, that helps us to just coordinate your surveys with your attendance, helps us to clarify who everyone is. So when you log in and it asks to type your name, if you could type your first and last name, that would be super helpful for us. When you log into Blackboard Collaborate, you will see the screen that I have on the slides now. Number one, you'll see your microphone link. And when you log in, it's going to be off. It has that slash line through it. If you click it, it turns green and shows kind of the audio moving up and down as you speak. So if you have that microphone on, make sure that it's because you're wanting to speak to us. If not, make sure it's clicked off, the line is through it. Number two will show us your video if you'd like to, you know, say hello to us in real time, I guess. You can click on your video and we can see you. And number three is important because it shows us if you want to participate or speak, and it allows us or the presenter to turn over the time to you. So if you click on the person with their hand raised, it will raise your hand and show the moderator or the presenter that someone has a question or they would like some microphone time, and then they can turn that microphone over to you or ask you to give your thoughts. Then you'll notice number four is the purple arrows out to the side at the bottom of your screen. Those purple arrows, if you click on that, it's going to open your kind of like your chat window, your settings, etc. So if you click on that and then see the speech bubble at the bottom, that is where you're going to access the chat. And we would love for you guys to be following the chat, so make sure you click that purple double arrow at the bottom and open up your chat so you can see what other people are saying, and so we can see what you are saying as you have questions, etc. So you'll type in that say something box, and then it will pop up into the chat for everyone to see along with your name so we know who is speaking. So please utilize that chat, and also make sure you look for the links. So for the beginning of this session, we had the icebreaker link in there. You should be able to, if you're on a computer, sometimes there might be trouble if you're on a phone or an iPad or another device, but from a computer you should be able to just click on that link and directly go to the icebreaker, and then at the end make sure you're clicking on that survey link. So if you have a device that's not allowing you to click on the link, please go ahead and write it down, make a note of it so you can go to that survey at the end. The surveys are going to come up at the end a couple of times in the chat because we need you to fill that out as your accountability piece to show us that you were here and that you participated. If you want to be involved in the eligibility requirements for the gift card, we do need you to fill out those surveys. And so look for those in the chat box. So without further ado, if no one has any questions, I am going to go ahead and turn our time over to Ron Pernew, who is going to be our moderator and leader for this Just in Time.
Okay, thank you, Erica, and welcome everyone to our third Just in Time training. We appreciate you taking the time to be here and hope that today's information will be useful for you all. As Erica said, my name is Ron Pernew. I'm the Regional Coordinator for Idaho Digital Learning in Regions 5 and 6. And so welcome. Let's get started and go with, first of all, we'll let you know what we're going to be talking about today. This is today's agenda. Building student plans, 8th grade career exploration, a little bit about custom sections and setting those up. We also have a new area for, it's called our Quick Start Site Coordinator Resource Area that we'll talk about. There'll be some more information on dual credit, and also we're going to talk about registering students and how to do that in FastPass, and also about as we finish up our spring classes, we want to be mindful of the seniors who would like to graduate and may have to finish early. So we'll go over all of these items today, and I'm looking forward to having a few people help me with this today. I first of all have asked one of my site coordinators in Region 6 from Madison High School to come and share today some of his ideas on the 4-year plans at Madison High School. So Kevin, we'll turn the time over to you.
Awesome. Well, I'm not super excited about being first, but I will definitely give you the information that we have and kind of go from there. So, my name is Kevin Jones. I am a counselor at Madison High School. I'm also the IDLA coordinator as well, and I'm going to go over a couple different things that we do at Madison High School regarding our 4-year plans, our associate's degree, and a few other things. With that being said, I just want to make sure that I'm extremely open and honest that, of course, I understand what we do at Madison High School isn't necessarily what's going to work with you and your school. I'm very aware that every school is a little bit different. Of course, what works with some schools don't work with others. Just what I would challenge you to do is just try to look for something that you may be able to implement from what we're talking about today and possibly implement it in your school with your students to try to make what you are doing better. So Bev, can you hear me a little bit better? Sorry, I'm trying to talk loud. I am in the phone, so this is a little bit different with the phone. So my sound is turned up as much as I can, but I'll do the best that I can, and I apologize. I'll try to talk loud. Okay, well, as we get started, this is what we're going to be going over with all of our students who are in 9th grade. And just so you know, at Madison High School, we are extremely lucky as we have a full-time junior high advisor who meets with all of these students individually and goes over their 4-year plan. Sorry, I'm just watching the comments while we're going over this as well, so I apologize if I pause. But as I said, we have a full-time junior high advisor that meets with each student individually and goes over these 4-year plans. And this right here, this slide that we're going over right now, is kind of the questionnaire that that advisor goes over. As you can see on the first section, questions 1 through 6, these are questions that the student answers themselves prior to even sitting down with that advisor. Then, from that information, the advisor looks over their answers as well as asks the questions 7 through 12 to create a lot of discussion. As you all know, if you guys are counselors, site coordinators, of course the questions lead just to further discussion. And so with us trying to find out as much information as we can to create an adequate 4-year plan for these students, it is not limited to these questions and to this questionnaire that we fill out with these students. But of course, we go over lots of different things, including what questions the students have, what interests they have, as well as we go over information such as the career information system. We have a couple different things at the junior high where the students get on the career information system and explore different careers, different interests. They take interest inventories. They search different careers. They compare and contrast, all prior to meeting with this advisor and creating their 4-year plan. As I said, this is what we do with all of the 9th graders. This slide right here is kind of how we plan out the courses that these students will take. This isn't their individual 4-year plan as far as like this is the only thing that they do, but this is their course tracker. And so what we do when we sit down with them is we look over the courses that are offered both at the junior high, because at Madison, the junior high includes 9th grade, and then the high school is grades 10 through 12. So we have a little different dynamic with creating a 4-year plan, as we don't get the students at the high school until they're in 10th grade. So we try to do a lot of coordinating between the junior high advisor as well as our full-time high school advisor with these 4-year plans. With these 4-year plans, of course, we understand that the 9th graders are going to have some idea that they want to become not only a NBA basketball player, but possibly an astronaut. So we're going to go over different things, try to plan out the courses that they need to take offered at Madison High School that would best prepare them for that career. Of course, when they enter 10th grade, now it's completely changed and they want to be a veterinarian. So as we understand, we are going to make changes every single year regarding this 4-year plan, while this 4-year plan stays with them and in their file every single year. So that high school advisor as well as the junior high advisor just make sure that they always pull out that 4-year plan if there is one, and just makes addendums and attachments to it rather than completely erasing and changing the whole document. Going on, this is this one and the next slide, slides 11 and 12, are just some samples of what the high school advisor goes over with our students that are grades 10 through 12. Of course, going off that 4-year plan that I showed you earlier, this is going to be an additional document that we include in that, as well as make any changes regarding the student's career goals or college goals. If you want any copies of these, I know Ron Pernew has all of these sent to him in an electronic format. So if you do want any of these questionnaires or anything, feel free to ask him and he can gladly send that, or as my email is in the chat box, you can email me as well and I can provide these to you as well. Once again, as a reminder, this works for us, and I'm also not naive, and I know that what we're doing at Madison High School isn't necessarily the best. We like what we do, but we also understand that there's lots of changes that we're going to make even for next school year. And so as this is in place, it's continually a working document, and we're going to be adding to that and going with different things next school year. So it's always going to be adapting. It's always going to be changing according to the needs of our students. All right. Now what I'm going to get into a little bit is with the associate's degree at Madison High School. We're lucky enough to be able to offer a full associate's degree at Madison High School through ISU. That is the college that we have chosen to work with, as I know some of you have other colleges that are close to you that may be more effective, just according to the logistics of where you guys are at. So getting into the associate's degree, I'm going to skip 2 slides to show you this. I know it's a little bit blurry, but you can ask me for an electronic copy of this and I can send it to you, or you can get it on the ISU's website. And this is their objective tracking chart. I don't know exactly what they call it. But what we have done is we have identified courses at Madison High School that will fulfill these objectives. If for some reason we do not have a course at Madison High School, we've looked at IDLA and some other online options in order to be able to offer a full associate's degree while these students are at Madison High School. Going back a little bit, this is showing you for objective number 1, the courses that we offer, as you have to have 6 credits to fulfill objective number 1. The 2 courses that we offer are English 1101 and English 1102. So forth. You can look through the other objectives. You can see how we've kind of planned that out. Without, of course, being at Madison High School, I know this may not be as pertinent to you in your school, but this just shows you some of the planning that goes on in order to create a full associate's degree program at your school. With that being said, we are excited that these courses also fulfill their high school requirements. If you look down on the objectives, you can see like Political Science 101 and 102. For the associate's degree through ISU, those are only counting as their elective courses, but of course, in regards to their high school graduation requirements, those courses are going to count towards their Government A and Government B, which are required either during their junior or senior year for graduation. So you can see as every single course plays a part in both their associate's degree as well as their high school graduation. The next slide, this is kind of the key to the success for the associate's degree at Madison High School. This goes through a lot of planning, a lot of organization, and I will be honest, I hate this page as much as I love this page. One thing that we do, of course, is we talk about the associate's degree at Madison High School and what it takes for these students to earn their associate's degree within the time that they're here at Madison. As I said earlier, we only get these students at the high school from grades 10 through 12. So while they're working with us on grades 10 through 12, you can see that they have a lot of courses that they have to take in order to get their associate's degree within technically 3 years. At Madison High School, we're on a trimester-based schedule, and you can fit up to 5 classes in your schedule each trimester, which equals a total of 15 courses throughout the year. In grades 10, just to give you an example, if you take all of the suggested courses, you take up 13 of your 15 courses to work on the associate's degree. If that student is a seminary student, then those 2 classes that they have left, or 2 classes of freedom, would be filled with their release time seminary. So as you can see, if you are working with these students on their associate's degree, many times these programs are going to be extremely rigid. We deal with a lot of parents and a lot of students who both want to be working on their associate's degree as well as possibly working on their orchestra, their choir, their drama, maybe even speech, debate, you know, all these other extracurricular activities, which are very, very good. We even tell our parents and students that the associate's degree at times kind of even goes contrary to what us counselors work towards at trying to make sure these students get a well-rounded opportunity while in high school. We want these students to explore. We want these students to dabble with the drama, dabble with the speech, the debate, the orchestras, the choirs, be involved in a sporting event or whatnot in order to produce a well-rounded student. Oftentimes, at least at our school, when you're involved in the associate's degree program, unfortunately, those courses can conflict with some of those extracurricular activities. As you can see, it loosens up a little bit in their 11th grade and 12th grade years. They have a couple more classes open as far as being flexible. At the same time, of course, some of those courses are only offered during certain hours, and that may still conflict with that student's extracurricular activity. The positive thing that we've really enjoyed with IDLA and some of the other surrounding colleges is if a student really, really, really wants to work on the associate's degree, but for some reason cannot fit, let's say, that English 1101. IDLA has always been really great for us because those students can take that dual credit English and still get that English 1101 credit, which would transfer for our students to ISU as far as that English 1101. And so these online providers such as IDLA have really been great for us to allow that flexibility where we have such a great program, such a great opportunity, but unfortunately, you know, just as far as what we are able to offer with Madison High School alone, we aren't able to offer those alternative options. And so when you're including these extracurricular activities, I strongly encourage you to consider coordinating quite closely with your regional coordinators as well as with Kristen Binder and everyone else at IDLA to make sure that we can get the courses that we need in order for these students to venture and take the courses that they need for the associate's degree. I think that is about what I had to cover, and I guess I will turn the time over to Ron unless for some reason someone has any questions.
Yeah, are there any questions then? Thank you so much, Kevin. Anybody have any questions? I don't see any raised hands or anything, but again, this slide deck will be available to you. As I'm not sure if you noticed, but we made the first 2 session slide decks available also in the same area where you can see the archive. And the next slide or 2, I just put a copy in of CWI's plan for the associate degree and for the general education degree. And I also have the right underneath their logo, the tiny URL. If you click on that tiny URL or type that in, you'll be able to look at all the different colleges and universities in Idaho and find these same type of forms to help your students in making a plan if they want to get the AA, the associate degree, or whatever their plans are. And so I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, but that tiny URL there will get the other universities. Um, and we also wanted to touch or remind you that we have the GEM courses, the courses that are accepted across the state. These are the categories, and then actually this handout I had to divide into two, but these are the names of the classes for each of those categories and the colleges and universities where you normally go to take those classes. Again, thank you so much, Kevin, for that presentation on what you do at Madison. Next, we have Wiley Dobbs, who is one of our regional coordinators in Region 3. He's going to take a few minutes and talk to you about middle school classes and custom sections. So, Wiley?
Thank you, Ron. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Can you hear me all
Yes.
right, Ron?
Thanks,
Okay.
Wiley.
Yeah, we can hear you great. Yep.
Great. I just wanted to start off by saying that I am the Region 3 co-coordinator with Jeff Farden and Bev Bradford, and it's been a pleasure working with those two in Region 3. Going back a year ago, I was the superintendent of the Twin Falls School District. I was there as superintendent for 14 years. We really relied heavily on IDLA for our students, and the opportunities that they presented for our students were outstanding. Knowing that we wanted our students to be prepared for online learning, we started them early. In fact, we made the commitment several years ago to make sure that all of our kids had an online course, at least one online course, while they were in middle school. And so we devised a strategy where we had every middle school, we have 3 large middle schools in Twin Falls. All 3 middle schools have 2 classrooms that are dedicated to IDLA learning. In fact, we call them digital classrooms. They're staffed with a very strong person that is an IDLA teacher. It's a para-educator, it's an online coordinator, but they are very strong in their knowledge of how to use IDLA and how to keep the kids working and being successful. So each of our middle schools has 2 classrooms with a para-educator that's highly trained, and they work with Chromebooks. We're able to get at least 30 students in each of those classrooms. It helps tremendously with the middle school schedule. Our principals love the flexibility that it gives them. It's also a real help when it comes to making sure the kids are ready for online learning as they move up through the ranks. We know that they're likely to take online courses in high school. We know that they're likely to take online courses in college. Some people take their entire college courses through online avenues. So we want them to be ready for that. We also know that when they become professionals, when they get careers, that much of their professional development will involve online learning. So we felt like that was a good avenue to take. One of the things we did at the beginning was talk to the parents, and the parents were very supportive of this idea. We also took advantage of the opportunities that IDLA presents in helping teachers learn how to do blended classrooms. So some of our classrooms at the high school, many of our classrooms at the high school have teachers that do some online and some face-to-face. So it's worked pretty well for us. One of the things that we really looked at the beginning when we were starting our idea that we had was to look at the revenue and the estimated cost. You can see those on your screen. You can see that if you have a classroom that has 30 students for 6 periods a day, and an average of 94% ADA or average daily attendance, that you'll bring in about $150,000 to your district. The estimated costs are on the right side. You can see that the online coordinator, that also includes benefits. We pay them a little more than we do in Twin Falls than we do other paraeducators, because we want we know that they're going to need to have additional training, and the training that IDLA provides for them is outstanding. They're the real key to this and to the success. In a minute, I'm going to show you how well our students have done. But the real key is that IDLA lab instructor. They serve as the site coordinator. Our counselors love that because in the past, before we went with this approach, our counselors were in charge of being site coordinators, and it just added more to their already full plates. So the IDLA lab instructors in Twin Falls are trained as site coordinators. They help keep the kids on track. They nip at their heels. They help them overcome any minor tech challenges that, sometimes will stop kids if they don't have that additional help. But the real strength is the teachers are some of the very best in Idaho. I've also served as a principal, and so I'm able to evaluate several of the teachers that are teaching in the career exploration class, the pathways to success, and keyboarding, which in Twin Falls we use as a wheel. Kevin mentioned in Madison the idea of an exploratory, getting kids involved in a lot of different opportunities. At middle school, our kids take a wheel, we call it a wheel, and they have career exploration course from IDLA, the pathways to success, and also keyboarding. So with that, I want to show you a slide that shows just two of the middle schools. We just opened South Hills Middle School, and so this is results from the last year with just O'Leary and Robert Stewart in Twin Falls. You can see that the pass rate, or PR as it's listed there, is very high. And our students, and I really give a lot of the credit in our school district to our IDLA lab instructors, who are also our site coordinators. They do a super job in making sure the kids keep up with their work, and as I mentioned, help a great deal with any minor technology issues that they have. But the real thing that I wanted to mention is that the classes are of outstanding quality. The kids love them. They learn a lot, and they're really prepared for when they go into high school, where many of their teachers are teaching in blended classrooms, and also they'll have other opportunities to take IDLA classes. With that, I'd answer any questions that you have, and I'll turn the time back to Ron.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Wiley, for that. And these next couple of slides are just, I just thought, since we were talking about custom sections, I thought I would put in for the year 15-16 and 16-17 the custom sections by region. These custom sections, and it shows the schools at the bottom there, are in regions 1 and 2, and it shows you the enrollment data of each of those custom sections. Some of these that are 3 and 4, they're probably part of another custom section with another school district. That's what makes custom sections so nice, and it also makes it nice because you can do it in your own school and have a beginning time and an ending time that corresponds with your school calendar. The next slide is Region 3, and there are quite a few schools in Region 3, and so you can see that the ones that have a lot of enrollments there, and again, this slide deck will be available later if you want to look at this a little closer. Also, regions 4 show the schools there and their enrollments, and these are the ones that Wiley just talked about. O'Leary and Robert Stewart, of course, they've used it quite a bit, and you saw the success that they've had there. And then regions 5 and 6. Just as a reminder, I would just let you know that we are getting a lot of requests for custom sections, and so we, in the red there, I've printed out that we really would encourage you to request those custom sections as early as possible, so that we can be sure and get you a class and a teacher and the sessions that you want. Okay. Couple other items here. I just wanted to let you know that when you go to the site coordinator area and the resource page, that this page comes up where you can find all our current flyers, and here's where you go to ask for your custom section. The other arrow on the left is pointing to our professional development for these just-in-time archives. And there's one more item that's in there that you may want to take a look at, and it's this this bottom item in this slide. It says Site Coordinator Quick Start Digital Resource Guide. There's about 14 screenshots of different things to help all the new site coordinators, and there's also some new things about our Schoology that we're working to bring about in the next year. And so you may want to go in and just take a look at that. It's not recorded. It's you do it in real time, and you just look at each of the slides as you go. So I would like to now turn the time over to one of our favorite people at IDLA, and we're happy that she's here. So let's have Kristen. Whoops, sorry, Kristen. I tried to get you through that. So
you're fine. That's so nice, right? Thank you. So I just want to go over a few things with you guys. We're going to look at some changes that have recently occurred to site coordinator logins, and to touch a little bit on the professional development that that Ron just talked about, a little bit from my lens of that. And then we're going to look at dual credit resources, and then also FastPass registration. So regarding site coordinator logins, site coordinators now have the option to use the iDig Learning portal to log in. And that's the same portal that students have been using for the last couple of years. If you are an existing site coordinator with a login, you can visit either your school's custom portal if you have one, or just our main portal, which is idiglearning.net. And if you want to click the login button at the top right, you can just click I forgot my username and password. And if you enter the email address that we have on file for you, then it will send you a password reset link, and you can get logged in that way. Or you can just contact technical support or even myself, and we can get your password reset and get your login set up for you that way. Right now, it is going to have a login tile for the student information system, and that's going to be what we call a single sign-on login. So once you're logged into the portal, you just click. You don't have to have a separate login for the student information system. And then we are planning to add more and more integrations, and I know they're wanting to loop in professional development as well. So if you're taking online courses with us, you'll have a similar view to what students see, and that there will just be tiles for you to interact with. And then new users will just get a login directly to the portal. But if you're an existing user, you can go ahead and get that set up and start using that. And then so just to kind of reiterate some of what Ron had mentioned about the professional development, if you go to the PD portal, that is pd.idiglearning.net, and you'll click on PD courses, and then IDL site coordinators. And we have what he referenced, the quick start guide. So if you're new, and you haven't had the chance to review that, or if you are more of a veteran and you just feel like you need a refresher, we have recently revised that. It's just a self-guided kind of tutorial. It's not really a class. There's no assignments. It's not facilitated. You can just find it there and access that at your leisure. There's lots of great links and resources, just very general information about getting started in your role as a site coordinator and the different support that you have available to you, whether that's your regional coordinator or our full-time staff. And then you can also look at professional development courses that you might be interested in. We have the Collaborative Counselor Training Initiative courses that are broken out into individual modules. And then you can get the webinar archives for this session and the two that have happened as well, and then the two that are coming up. So that's all there on the PD portal. I just wanted to draw your attention to, either remind you of or just make you aware of some resources that we have around our dual credit courses. This is going to be on our main website, which is idahodigitalallearning.org. And it's actually located under the Students and Parents tab rather than the Site Coordinator tab. But if you click on Students, Parents, and then go down to Advanced Opportunities, we have a couple of things there I just wanted to draw your attention to. So we have a dual credit checklist. That can be a really helpful guide as you're counseling students to register for dual credit, whether that's the IDLA course or the college credit or advanced ops. It just kind of gives you a great list. If there's placement tests, I mean, we all know that there's a lot involved in registering for dual credit and making sure all the steps are done in the right order. So that can be a great resource for you, or to even provide to your students and parents. We have our dual credit course list, which is currently up for the 17-18 year. We are making some changes to our dual credit offerings. There's a couple of classes that we are having to pull from our schedule, and then before we hit fall, we will have some new articulations as well. So what we always try to do is take existing courses and offer them through more than one university or college partner. So that's why you see, dual credit speech is a good example. We have through North Idaho College, CSI, and CWI. On our side, it really is usually the same course, similar textbook, similar requirements, number of credits, all of that. We're just trying to provide some additional options for students to earn their credits from as many partners as we can align our courses to. So you might see some additional articulations. I know that one we're working on is in the health field. We have a lot of demand for medical terminology and fundamentals of health, and currently that's only aligned through CSI. So we're really trying to increase our instructor pool and align that through another college as well, because that is a couple of our more popular dual credit courses. And then last year we did just also add sociology with CWI, and that just allows us to increase our capacity there. And then there is a box that says university information, and what you'll find there is the contact information and most importantly the registration deadlines. Those are updated each semester, and I do just have the logos of the college partners that we use, so I'm not discriminating against the other public institutions in the state. It's just that those are our current university and college partners, and so that's why you're just going to find their information. But Jennifer is really good about putting the deadlines on a semester basis, so that's just a good one-stop page to go look for all that information, all those deadlines. All right. So I just want to talk a little bit about registration. Ron wanted me to focus a little bit on FastPass specifically. So we have two different types of registration, what I call direct registration, and that is when a site coordinator will manually enter the student's demographic information and select the course, enter the reason for enrollment. And in this option, the classes can either be billed to the district, which happens automatically, unless you select that the course will be paid for by Advanced Opportunities funds. And that would only be applicable for a student qualifying for overload, or you can check that option if it's a dual credit class. We don't track so much the dual credit because the funding doesn't come to us, but you can certainly use that option. It's kind of a nice data point for us. And then in FastPass registration, the student is actually doing the data entry piece. So they're entering all their demographic information, they're entering for their parent, they're selecting a course out of a list of courses that you give them access to, and then it comes across to the site coordinator as a request. So the site coordinator still has the option to approve or deny any of those requests. So a student can't just go register for tons of classes that you wouldn't accept at your district, or that you wouldn't recommend that they take. And the additional option for payment is that you can actually have the student or parent prepay with a credit card, and we've recently added checking accounts online as well, but that's processed through Access Idaho, and there is a small fee when they do that online, but folks that are using this option are a big fan, and bookkeepers at school are even bigger fans because they are taken out of the tracking piece and the nightmare that can come with payment issues and all of that. So it just definitely adds that option to streamline things a little bit in your registration process. So FastPass registration, if you're not familiar, this is just a quick kind of overview. So a site coordinator will create a FastPass. The student uses the code to register. They will do that through either the portal or the FastPass site. Then the site coordinator reviews that request and selects the payment option. If prepayment is not required, then the registration is complete. If prepayment is required, the student and parent is sent an email and they just get a link. They can go online and pay. They can bundle their students' courses and pay for multiple at once and just do one transaction, or they can use some check boxes if they only want to pay for one course. Maybe it's a split parenting situation and another parent is going to pay for an additional course. And then once the online payment is made, registration is complete. So they're essentially sitting in a queue. They're not fully registered until they pay for the class. And what that does is it takes the collection piece, again, it takes it out of your hair at the district or building level. So you don't have to track that student for payment if they are responsible for that fee. So really quick, you already have access to create a FastPass if you're a site coordinator. So you just click on FastPass registration from your main menu there. And then you'll click on create a new pass. And I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, but it's really not that difficult once you get in. It's pretty straightforward. And either your regional coordinator or myself can definitely walk you through this process if it's your first time, or help you with any questions. So you click create a new pass, and this is where you have some information to fill out and just double check that you have things set up correctly. So that top yellow box, that's actually something that's a blank field. You will name your title, and you could just keep it as simple as naming it after the session. So we have, and what I mean by session would be like early summer, late summer, trimester, driver's ed. Those are all separate sessions. And then the start date is auto-filled in to the day that you're creating the pass, and the end date is auto-filled in to the registration deadline. And then your school is selected for you. Unless you have district level access, you won't be able to change that. So that'll just be set as your current school. And then moving over to the right-hand side, I do want to draw your attention to academic program. That's going to default to our cohort courses. Right now, that's what we're running in Blackboard. If you want to create a FastPass for Flex courses, those would be under, you would select the dropdown and choose Flex. And then we've been talking a bit about our Schoology program, and that's going to be under what we call Cohort V2. And so you just need to select that in the dropdown. And then that's going to drive the session filter as well. So again, early summer, late summer, summer driver's ed. And they all are different fast passes and sessions that have to be maintained because of the different deadlines or session links. And then the passcode is going to autofill as well. If it's auto-generated a code that you don't like, you can roll the dice and select a new code. And then you just want to assign courses. So maybe you're at a middle school and you only want to allow middle school classes or certain high school electives. You could go down and individually select those courses, or you can just click check all, and it's going to select every course available in that session. And then if you scroll to the bottom, it will say create this pass, and you have your FastPass code. So it's just a 5-character code that a student would then take to register. So this might be something that you hand out to students. It might be something that you post on a wall outside the counseling office, because again, you are going to have vetting of this. You're going to be the gatekeeper and approve every registration request that comes through. So a student would either go to your portal and go through the course catalog, or they can take that code and go to the FastPass website, which is register.idla.us. And if they have problems through this process, usually our technical support staff is great at helping troubleshoot that as well. And then just some reminders on managing FastPasses. So again, you approve and deny them as the site coordinator. Only the site coordinator that created the code will be the one that can approve or deny. So if you have multiple site coordinators at your school, you'll just kind of want to think about that when you set things up and who's going to be responsible for reviewing those. And we mentioned that those are session-based, so just keep that in mind as we offer more courses in Schoology. Those will be under the Cohort V2 program. And we don't recommend that you set them up at the student level. That would just be a bit difficult to track. And then when you are approving a FastPass, you do have the ability to edit a name, the registration question, so why they're taking the class, and email addresses. And you'll just want to double check those things. I mean, if students are self-registering, we see all kinds of strange nicknames and things like that. So we just want to make sure that that information is up to date. And then you do have a required question area where you will answer about their at-risk status, and then if they have any specialized IEP, 504 ELP, you'll enter that information, and then optionally you can enter their EDU ID. And part of the approval process, again, is selecting that payment option. So you can select advanced opportunities, you can bill to the district, or you can select prepay via credit card. And one thing I want to caution is just keep in mind the registration deadlines and make sure that if you're using the FastPass system, that you're getting in and reviewing and approving all registrations by the registration deadline. And that is the Friday before classes start. And if we run into any capacity issues, you could see students on a wait list, and they will be in a pending status until additional seats in a class open up, just to make you aware. Okay, so our summer classes, again, these are all the sessions. We have our cohort program that you're most familiar with in Blackboard. We have early summer. Our summer 12-week is our dual credit offerings. And then we have a late summer session, and then we have a driver's ed session that's a 6-week session starting in July. And then our Schoology program, we're offering a few pilot courses over the summer aligned with the early summer session, and then we have a few dual credit classes as well. And then we do have our flex session over the summer. In fall, things get a little more tricky because we do still have the early fall, the late fall, and we're having one trimester. We'll have some classes running in Blackboard in our cohort program. And then in cohort V2, we will have all of our English department, all of our foreign language department, our health fitness department, and then elective courses, a few elective courses. We're looking at keyboarding, pathways, and 8th grade career exploration as running fully in Schoology in the fall, given that our summer pilots go smoothly. And then we'll still have our flex courses, which will be in Buzz, which is slightly different than Brain Honey. It'll just have a little bit different look and feel. It's definitely nothing like the conversion from Schoology, I'm sorry, from Blackboard to Schoology. So it's just some moderate changes. And you'll see those rolling and monthly starts all throughout the year for Flex, same as you're used to. And then by spring, we're hoping that all courses are running in Schoology. So again, for the fall, if you're looking at doing fast passes, it is going to be a little cumbersome because you will have to manage different fast passes for every session, but that's something we can help you get that set up so it's really clear. And then if you just have those written out for students, it should be fairly easy to track, and you'll be able to start making those fast passes for fall as early as May 1 when registration opens. All right, and then just to briefly touch on final exams, they're going to be around the corner before we know it. A lot of you have already coordinated with instructors or with me to establish an early testing window for your seniors, or maybe even for your non-seniors, because we are going a little bit late into the year with our spring session this year. So those are the dates for our different sessions. So we have the early spring ends the week of May 7th, and then late spring and trimester 3 end the week of May 28th. And I know we have a lot of courses that were only offered in late spring, a lot of our dual credit classes. So if that timeline is not going to work and you haven't already made those arrangements, just think about proctoring and graduation deadlines and those types of things, and we can certainly back that date up. We have some seniors that are testing as early as the 7th in that late spring session, and so they've just been working with their instructors to get access to course units earlier, and then on our side we will make sure to have exam passwords and final exams set up and ready to go for you. So again, if you haven't made if you haven't made arrangements with instructors or with me, just go ahead and give me an email or a heads up, and we'll make sure that you have access to information so we can get your seniors graduated on time. And that is all I have, Ron. It'll be back to you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kristen, and a special thanks to Erica and Kevin and Wiley and Kristen for all the information they shared with us. This slide is for your information, as at this event there will be some guidance provided to let us know of the rule updates that take effect for the 2018-2019 school year, and so we just wanted you to be aware of those dates so that you could make plans to attend and find out some of these updates. Also, if you have any questions on any of the just-in-times that we're providing for your training, you can contact any of your regional coordinators. And I want you to know that every question that you ask or every comment that you make in your surveys are duly noted, and we will cover them. We still have 2 more just-in-times to do, and then we're planning on a face-to-face in September. So we are planning on going over every question that you have if it's not been covered. And with that, we have the survey link here for everyone. It's also in the chat if you would like to click on that and fill out that survey and ask any questions and make any suggestions that you have. I appreciate everyone being here, and I just want to wish you all a great evening, and thank you so much for all you do for the students in Idaho. Thank you.